Welcome to what Star Wars Attack of the Clones should have been. This is a continuation of the story that was started back in my What Phantom Menace Should Have Been video, as this is supposed to be a complete alternate history of the prequels. Now, it's not a requirement that you have seen my rewrite of the Phantom Menace, because I'll fill you in as we go, but obviously it will add more to the experience if you have seen it, as there's a number of elements from that story that carry over and influence things in this movie. And as I mentioned in the previous video, these fanfiction prequels are intended to primarily fit into the original movie trilogy. Although I have borrowed a few things from the expanded universe here and there, I'm mostly just focusing on the original movies. So forgive me if I accidentally step on some of the expanded universe lore, but apparently almost none of that exists anymore thanks to Disney, so I guess it doesn't matter. So then, with all of that out of the way, I give you Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
The invasion of Alderaan set off a blaze that now threatens to engulf the entire galaxy in total war. A conflict unlike any the Republic has faced before. The Clone Wars. Many systems have surrendered to the clones rather than risk conflict, while others have willingly allied with this new power as a means to rid themselves of Republic lore. These systems in league with the clone armies under the leadership of Darth Maul call themselves the Separatists. Desperate to beat back the seemingly endless horde of clones, the Republic has authorized the creation of a galactic army to defend what remains of Republic space. Led by the Jedi Order, the first major battle of this army is now underway. A planetary-wide battle to seize back control of the vital world of Naboo, a world with the second largest reserves of Jantine in the galaxy, a naturally occurring nutrient that is vital for the creation of clones. If the Separatists seize control of these resources, the clone armies could multiply to numbers so vast that they would overrun Republic territory like a plague. This is a battle that the Republic cannot afford to lose.
On the bridge of the command ship, we find Mace Windu leading the attack. The last of the destroyers is out of hyperspace. Scan the planet. The Separatist fleet is rallying to block us. Good. Fire on these coordinates, and keep your eyes peeled for an opening. They're pulling ships from the west as reinforcements. Then that's where we'll send the first wave. Send the coordinates for them to come out of hyperspace. Send the nearest TIE fighter squads to clear a path to the planet's surface. First wave is almost at the surface. Signal the second wave and move these destroyers in to form a perimeter. Keep the highway open, we'll funnel our dropships through it. Inside a galactic walker, we see Obi-Wan Kenobi. He makes a hologram call. Anakin, we're moving on the clone defenses on the northern side of the city. Master Fisto is approaching from the south. What's your situation? Anakin is cruising low in another dropship with his squad of troopers with him. Scanners are detecting something in the jungle to the west. That could be our Gentane mine. We'll have to approach on land to be sure. I'll send some TIE fighters to circle the jungle in case you need them. Be careful, my old Padawan. You too, my friend. The dropship hovers low when Anakin and his squad jump out and make their way into the jungle. Back with Obi-Wan, they are hammering clone defenses at the city's edges. Master Fisto, we've broken through on the north side. We should be coming through the south in a moment. Then we'll meet you in the middle. A hooded figure slips through the crowds that populate the busy nightlife streets of Coruscant and ducks into the shadows of a narrow alley. Discreetly leaning against a wall, the figure makes a mark before moving back out into the streets and merging with the crowd again. As the figure passes a small garden area, in a barely discernible motion, drops a small package into the garden and continues on. The figure makes a big circle all the way around the block to return to the original spot, and sees that the mark left now has an additional mark added, forming an X. On seeing this, the figure turns around, enters a different alley, and moves to a drain pipe, reaching behind it, retrieving a different package attached by a magnet to the back of the pipe, and stashes it inside his cloak, before disappearing back into the shadows. This is what the spy world would call a dead drop with signal drops. When information needs to be exchanged, a pre-arranged spot is selected where it will be dropped. In this case, the garden. The one making the drop leaves the signal to the handler that they're about to make the drop, which is the mark on the wall, for the handler to see. The handler can then collect the package within only a minute or so of it having been left, and leaves another signal, the second mark, to the spy telling them that he's got the package and that it's safe for the spy to go to the second drop, in this case the drain pipe, to collect their pay as well as information on where the next dead drop will be. In this way, a spy and a handler can pass information back and forth for years without ever actually meeting face to face. The spy might never even meet the handler at all. I don't know if anyone else finds that interesting at all, but I just find that kind of stuff fascinating, and it's going to come into play later, so keep it in the back of your brain. The figure makes its way back to a speeder, jumps in and pulls back the hood, revealing Padme. Back at the Battle of Naboo, Obi-Wan's forces are sieging the biggest separatist stronghold in the city. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Anakin's squad has located the source of the signal they were detecting. Looks like the structure is underwater. Would be a good place to hide a Gentane mine. Anakin tells all of his men to remove their helmets to put on their breathing gear so that they can swim down there. And we see that these troopers are not clones like their separatist opponents, they are just regular dudes that have joined the Galactic Army to take up the fight against the clones. I'm with Red Letter Media on this one. If there are to be clones, which there has to be because Luke did mention it in A New Hope.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
Then the clones should be fighting for the Separatists, and the Republic troops should be regular guys. That way you actually care if a trooper dies because he probably has a family that he's leaving behind. And as we will see, that's going to be a necessary part as to why Anakin does what he does in this story and eventually becomes Darth Vader. One of Anakin's soldiers was from Naboo before the clones attacked. The Gungans used to have a secret underwater city. No one ever knew where it was, but after the clones attacked, all the Gungans hid there. If this is that underwater city, they're probably all still down there now. But if the clones have already found it and taken it over, then this could be the Gentane mine that we're looking for. I guess we won't know until we get down there. But either way, I wouldn't expect a warm welcome. They put on their breathing gear and dive beneath the surface and swim down into the blackness below. Slowly lights appear in the watery depths and an orb containing the glowing city comes into view. They swim to an entrance and morph through the liquid substance that holds back the water of the swamp. Anakin and his troopers remove their breathing gear and look around. This is it. It's the Gungan city. Where is everybody? All the lights are on, so somebody has to be here. Anakin suddenly snaps to attention. Ambush! He brings his hands together in a clapping motion, and in an instant, hundreds of objects from all around are levitated in front of them. They slam together, forming a wall of metal, rock, and steel. In the same instant, clones pop up from all over the place and unleash a volley of laser blasts. Everyone ducks behind the hovering wall that Anakin has pulled together. It starts to break apart from the heavy fire it's taking. Break cover on my mark. Stand in 2x2 formation. Ready? Go! He force pushes the wall and it shatters apart, with pieces flying right back at all of the clones. They are showered in debris and have to duck out of the way. All the troopers charge them in twos, blasting away as they go. Anakin runs forward towards a group of clones. He ignites both of his lightsabers and, dual-wielding his weapons, he launches himself right into the middle of a big pile of clones, and like a spinning whirlwind of death, goes to work, sending arms and legs and heads flying left, right, and center. He is untouchable. He is so fast, so deadly, so lethal, they never even get a single shot off. Anakin retracts his lightsabers just in time for the last of the clones to hit the floor. We can see that Anakin has become battle-hardened by the war. Cutting down enemy has become just another day at the office for him. Outside, Anakin's troopers are finishing off the last of the clones. One of them, that's climbed up on the rooftop to scout ahead, says that he can see the mining site at the center of town along with all the Gungans. They hurry down the street into the town square, where they indeed find the mining site, as well as... No! They're dead! They're all dead! Every single Gungan in the entire universe was there. Now they're extinct. No more. Who knows, maybe one of those guys could have been a character that we might have known in Star Wars, but not going to happen because they are all dead. The troopers look on in horror at this huge pile of Gungan heads. As one of them steps closer, his foot presses down on a hidden plate in the ground. Run! A huge mound of explosives that was hidden under the Gungan heads detonates, incinerating everything around him. As Anakin dives into the air, he's able to throw up a force shield around him, enough to protect himself from the blast. As he hits the ground, a thick cloud of dust and debris cloak the entire area.